Thanks.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the December 7th Selectmen's meeting. If everybody would rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Starting off with announcements this evening, couple things that aren't on the agenda but mention them anyways. First of all, the Waterboro Fire Department is doing a Keeping Our Community Children Warm kids' coats, hats, and mittens drive. The fire department is collecting coats, hats, and mittens for children of our community. They can be dropped off at the Waterboro Fire Department Central Station, and items should be either new or gently used, not soiled or torn. And collections will continue for the month of December and distributed in January of 2011. Also like to mention that Christmas is quickly approaching. General Assistance currently has 22 families that are looking for assistance for the holiday season. General Assistance is accepting cash donations at this point to help fund the Christmas wish list and the family food basket. So if anybody's interested in donating to the families for Christmas, then contact Nancy Johnson at the General Assessing Office. General Assistance Office. We have no appointments this evening. Hearing delegation. Seeing none, we'll move on to correspondence. In our package tonight, we have a letter from the assessor regarding taxes, a letter from assessor regarding application for abatement of property tax, and a letter from Woodman, Edmonds, Danilick, and Austin, PA. Reports, the town administrator's report.
Fred is here. Yeah, Fred is here. The drainage work is completed on the old Alfred Road, but there's been a little bit of a problem down there with disposal of yard waste, leaves, branches, wood chips around the drainage system, and that's going to cause the drainage system not to work properly. So Fred has ordered some signs, and they're going to be put up down there, but would appreciate if it's not used for disposal. The gate, a price is going to be, for the gate for the dam, a price will be submitted for the repair of the seals by the company, and then one for them to supervise removing the gates and putting the seals in by a highway department, but there will be a need probably for a small boom crane, and they're looking at a cost between $3,000 and $6,000 to do the work.
What did we budget?
$4,000. And the inspection, first inspection at the transfer station project was done by Owens McCullough from Sebago Technics. A copy of the report is included in your packet, and so far he's been very happy with the work that is being completed. And now we're beginning the work on the budgets. Did you get a copy of it, Clint?
All right, thanks, Nancy. Moving on, Selectmen's reports. David. Yeah, you know who you are. Apparently, I don't know who you are tonight, though.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to draw the attention of all visitors to the town hall, particularly in the after dark hours, to take a look at the Christmas decorations that have been put up in town hall by our maintenance person. They look very nice out there. While you're at it during the daytime, you can look at some of the cleanup that's been going on with the brush along the front of the town hall and to the rear of the parking lot. We have some individuals that have run afoul of the law, and as part of their sentencing, they have been doing some community service. So that's been taken care of at no cost to the town, with a little bit of assistance from the road commissioner, who had to haul all the brush away out there that they've been cutting. But it's starting to look pretty good. The third thing I'd like to talk about is the clerks out in the front lobby strive very hard to serve the public well. They do not need to be subject to verbal abuse by people that don't always agree with the things that they have to say. The use of profanity directed towards them, the threats directed towards them will not be tolerated. If that continues by anybody, those parties will be removed from the lobby, and if it continues further, this board will see that appropriate action is taken. If you have a complaint about how things are done or how you were received by a clerk, we do have a complaint procedure. You merely have to contact the town administrator. Should be more than happy to sit down and discuss with you anything that you have that causes you concern. But they're not subject to abuse because they're serving the public out there, and we would appreciate that. The last thing I have to mention tonight is cell phones for soldiers. This is a program that the town's engaged in, whereby these phones are refurbished and so forth, and then I believe that they're sold to pay for calling cards that are sent to the servicemen and women in Iraq and Afghanistan, so that they have the opportunity to call home. So if that's something that you're interested in participating in, we'll see that our IT person puts the website for that, a link to this website on our site, and they can discuss this again with the town administrator, because she has these mail bags that are, this organization also pays for all the postage and everything. They're just asking for the cell phones for soldiers. So, thank you.
All right. Dennis, anything? All set? David?
Couple of things. One is, I received a letter from Richard Anderson at Lake Sherburne Road. And he's asking that the town provide a sign, I believe it's when the West Road and Lake Sherburne Road intersect. I believe when that was rebuilt, Fred, they made one entrance there. People have been having yard sales there for some time, and they're leaving trash, couches, refrigerators, etc. on town property, and he's requesting that a sign be put up there stating that no dumping or yard sales or whatever without permission. And it's an ongoing situation, and I would recommend the town look into it and provide some signs for that area. Secondly, the transfer station recycling subcommittee has been working on haulers permit. It's in relationship to flow control, where all haulers hauling out of Waterboro are subject to permits, and they have to take their trash to Maine. Thirdly, I don't know if we've announced this or not, but in the upcoming year, we're going to be saving around $7,000 on tipping fees at Maine due to the recycling, sharing of recycling funds, profits that they've had. So that's a good news. And I'd like to remind the citizens that for every 1% of the household waste that we reduce, in other words, if we increase our recycling rate and reduce our household trash by 1%, it's roughly $2,000 that we save. So with this new compactor for recycling, it's going to be a lot easier to recycle, and hope people increase their efforts and help the town save some money. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, committee reports, Finance Committee. Tina Cody is the chair of the Finance Committee. Tina?
Hi The Finance Committee will be meeting Thursday. We changed our meeting days to better accommodate me, well, the whole committee, but I've been struggling with my schedule, so I had asked if everyone was available on Thursdays. So we did change our meeting dates to the second Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. We'll be meeting this Thursday, and we're going to go over the capital plans that are presented tonight. We'll be reviewing that, and any questions, we will let you know. And we're going to be reviewing the expense revenue reports that were just provided to the committee as well.
And you're still short a couple of minutes, members.
Diane was just appointed, correct? So we've acquired Diane, and two more. We need, no, one more.
One more?
One more.
So do you want to make your pitch for somebody?
It's all yours, Tammy. Come on, come play with us. So we're still looking for one more person to join the committee.
Okay. All right, thanks, Tina. Next up is Treasurer Julie Giles.
I'm going to inundate you a little bit, and kill some trees. I'm going to pass these out, then I'll explain what's in the packets.
Now, did you pick that color because it's color coordinated with your jacket?
No,
or-
there's other colors.
Oh, there are other colors too?
And there is extras for, there's 3 package each, if if they would like.
Is each color something different?
Yes. So you need a red, blue, and a salmon colored in a single, and one of those.
Red, blue, salmon.
All right, we're going to start with your red folders. That is current year, 2010 to 2011. It's your GL summary, a revenue and expense summary from July to the end of November. Then in your blue one is the same time period for last year's budget, the GL, the revenue and expense summary. The salmon colored is the complete year for 2009-10 revenue, GL, expense summaries. And then your single page here is a copy of comparison of your revenues to date from 2009-10, and on the right is 2010-11 for your revenues received from July 1st to November 31st. The auditors have been here. They have one, they're coming back in Thursday for a day visit, and I have been asked to bring this to the selectmen's notification, I guess. They asking me at your next selectmen meeting, can you bring forward the ideas of preparing the town of Waterboro for the implementation of the GASB number 55. GASB number 55 redefines designated fund balances, and the town will no longer be able to just agree or vote on what is in the designated fund balance. There will be a new classification of fund balance: restricted, temporarily restricted, and unrestricted. And Chris is offering that he'll make himself available for a workshop to discuss the changes, and would also like to make some changes to the trio chart of accounts and departments to better reflect these as well as these changes. And for anybody that doesn't know what the GASB is, it's a standard governmental procedure for accounting, the set of standards. And what the government is trying to set down is the fact that to make it to prove exactly what it costs to run a town, not any of the other sides, but just basically. And as I say, GASB is a governmental accounting standard board, and they go on what they call Chris cites the IPCPA, which is the American Institute of the Certified Public Accountants, and their standards that they have to produce their reports. So,
So you have something there in writing from him?
just an email with us.
So we have something to refer to. Thanks, Julie.
So if you have any questions, I'll gladly try to answer.
John?
So you're saying that that now the undesignated, or rather the designated fund balance will be broken up into two categories of restricted and temporarily restricted?
This is my understanding as per that statement, and we've known that it was coming, and as I say, Chris can explain it a lot better than I can, but I know the general logistics of it is to consolidate, you have a section of your budget as you look now as your general expenditures, then you go down to your GL, and you've got designated fund balances and an undesignated fund balance. Well, the designated fund balances are going to be consolidated, to my understanding.
Okay.
But as I said, if you wish him, he said he'd make himself available. He will be here Thursday, working. They are in the last proceedings of it, and we have, as you saw, a lot of journal entries from last week that you signed. That was to moving the accruals from the budget that they showed in 2010-11 back to the actual budget where they were expended for the 2009-10. And all the journal factories are reflected in the salmon folder for all your expenses as of for the end of the year. There is 2 more journal entries to remove 2 appropriations, one of which was a refund that was expended in last year's budget but was received in this year's budget, and that's under $500. And there's a small glacial energy bill, I think it's $12.02. That was a journal entry that's got to be removed back, and we just want to make sure that we have the proper paper trail to move those 2 back. But everything else, other than the cleaning up of various small items with the journal entries he'll be giving me, this is, I would say, 80% accurate, maybe even higher, but I'm rather go low than I had high.
We will want Chris here next week.
On Tuesday?
Yep.
Okay, I will let him know that, okay?
One
Yes, sir.
more, just a little question. I see the light blue is, it looks like deficits, right? What about the red?
Okay, the blue is money that, as you'll see in your net budget, there are no figures. Blue means over what was budgeted in the net column. For instance, like in the 2010 year end, you have a tree growth that you received $13,529.51, for example. That was not specifically earmarked for revenues in the budget as such. The net budget is what were voted by your townspeople. For instance, like the 2010, you had a 2.392 budget, and this year it's your 2.058416. The red, and that shows in your tax overpayments, that's money that has gone back to the individuals, or as such as you look on your 2011, you're seeing your abatements. That's money that was deducted out of your revenues, your projected revenues.
Thank you.
For instance, on your 2011, for one thing that really stands out is, as of right now, you're 1.16% more on your cable franchise in revenue than you were last year at this time. You guesstimated 23,008, and we've already taken in 43,008. And as you can see farther down, you have $16,540 that you've taken in tree growth penalties on the 2010 side, your right-hand side.
Any other questions for Julie?
Thank you.
And I'm at your disposal if you need anything further explained on these matters, okay?
Tina?
How come we don't have very many blue on the other pages for under collecting revenues?
If you have blue on the other pages, that means you've succeeded over what you had
So
prognosticated.
there should be red then, right?
They would be black if it's still in the 2011, as well as in black, it shows your percentage that wasn't collected. Like, if you look in your 2010 budget, say on your first page, for instance, your tax interest, and the line item budgeted was $25,000. You only collected $360 that was coded to that specific line. It may be, a matter of coding or where the money is posted when it's receipted. But like in your certified copies is another one, you figured there was going to be 2,600. You only the town only took 1,570 in.
So if I just pick at the planning board, we had anticipated revenues for fiscal year 2010 of $16,181.
Yes?
We collected $3,436, so we were short almost $13,000.
Yes, ma'am. The unexpected balance was, $12,745.
So we only collected 21% of what we had anticipated.
Yes.
So we didn't collect 100% of anything, right? Is that how I'm reading this?
Yeah, 100% would be in blue. Or it would definitely state out in the 100%. But this is only through November, remember.
Okay.
This is only through
Yeah,
November.
that's right.
Blue would suggest we've collected more than what we had budgeted for.
And those were lines that they didn't budget any guesses as far as,
As
they were
you
miscellaneous.
go back to 4120, which was a cable franchise in both years, but if you look on the right side, which is current year, we've collected 43,830. We only planned to collect 23. So we've actually collected $20,800 more than what we expected.
And that's
That was
to
on the
date.
first page?
November 30th. These are as of November 30th in comparison.
Okay.
Okay?
And that's a one-time payment, right, from the franchise
No.
fees? Or is it on a monthly basis?
Monthly. Okay? David?
How are things going in your office? And, you can answer this or not answer it, but as far as work and...
I have been, thanks to you folks being afforded the Mondays to start to get, the check recs are done through June 30th of this year's budgets on all of them. The check recs for the budget year of 2010 to 2011, all but the general checking are current and presently working on those. The rest of it, the liens are, there's still a lot to be done. We're doing the best with what we can do.
Is the Excel sheet that Chris gave you working out better than the Trio?
A lot,
Reconciliation.
yes. I'm still using the Trio for the fire and rescue because that's quicker with that, because that is current. But as far as with Chris's, yes, and I want him to work with me Thursday just to make sure that I'm on the same page as he is to start with July's. I did start working on July's Monday, and that's what I was in here to doing was your check recs.
Diane?
Can I just ask Julie to explain again the three, just so that...
Yes, ma'am.
we have them down?
Not a problem. Yes. Let me find my crib sheet. Okay, the red folder is for July to November of this year's budget, 2010 to 2011, which includes your GL, your revenue, and your expenses. The blue is for 2009-10 budget for the same period. The salmon colored is for the complete year of the budget year of 2010. And they're all in the same order, the GL, the revenue, and the expense reports. Okay? You all set?
Yep, thanks,
Thank you
Julie.
very much.
Okay, moving on to new business, presentation of the CIPs. We have this evening our fiscal year 2011 to 2016 capital improvement plan has been completed We've been presented our copy, and we have Tom Ursha this evening that's going to make the formal presentation of this. We also have the department head here in case we have any questions. So, Tom, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I need to share a copy with this with Selectman Dave. Dave, I've got your Christmas present here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. For the public's benefit, the capital improvements plan is done every year for a variety of reasons. The two most important reasons are, one, it's charter mandated. In the town's charter, it mandates that the community every year take a look at its current investments and those that need replenishment, as well as doing some futuristic planning. So tonight I bring before you the efforts of your department heads and of one committee, the Road Review Committee, and it reflects their due diligence and a real strong team effort. I think as we've noticed over the years, and Nancy and I, the town administrator and I, had an opportunity to kind of talk briefly about the progression of your CIPs. Each year, we try to do a bit more due diligence because it makes your job easier, it makes the Finance Committee's job easier to see projects that are proposed either based on urgent need or need that reflects a good return on investment to protect the town's assets. And when we talk about assets, we talk not only about financial assets, but the physical assets of the community. So I have to share with you and compliment the department heads that had worked so hard to give the backup information. One of the things that's critical in your analysis and the analysis by the Finance Committee is accurate estimates and quotations. So in the absence of having projects that don't defend the urgency or explain the urgency, or both, it makes it really difficult to analyze the priorities for the community. I think the document that you have before you reflects a real sincere effort on the parts of most to put together a document that's going to be helpful to the community. So what I'd like to do tonight is to do an overview of what you have before you. There were 25 projects that were submitted. In that green document, you have 25 projects. 80% of those projects show up in the next fiscal year. So 20 out of those 25 projects show up as being recognized by your department heads as being urgent projects that need addressing. One of the phenomenons that's happened over the last 2 years is projects that were forecasted out 2 and 3 years ago are moving forward. And that's why you have a very heavy-ended presentation of projects, 80% of them showing up in your next fiscal year. I think there's a really important fiscal message in there that there are needy projects that require analysis as to where are our most important investments to make in the next 24 months. The cost of the 20 of 25 projects is almost $1.2 million. And as I walk through those 20 projects, you'll get a sense of some of those that are fairly heavy-ended and may be impacted either by referendum or may be impacted by what happens with the federal government. The other thing that I want to share with the board and the town administrator is that I've asked the department heads to be extremely vigilant about any type of grant systems. And so as one of my roles in working for the town, Nancy and I will cross-communicate if we see a potential grant system that we might be eligible for. And we use wisdom in applying for things that we can be competitive on, of course. So each day, to be quite candid with you, I keep my radar up to look at any potential grant systems or foundation systems that might be applicable to any of these projects. I think the challenge that's before us is that we have to look at some creative financing in order to fund these projects. And as I go through several of the beginning projects, you'll see what I mean by that. I'll give you an illustration of how we're seeking out a potential foundation grant, as well as keeping our radar up for any potential federal grants to fund one of the particular projects. So what I'd like to do is to offer, we can either go through the summary sheet, or at the chair's request, we also have it here that we could show a visual on the screen, if you think that would help assist with the public.
I think the visual is the best way to go so that the residents can see it as well. John?
Just process
Okay.
your time.
Sure.
If we have questions, if you will, about certain projects, do you want us to wait till the whole package has been, you've gone through the whole package to go back to that, or do you want the questions as we go through each project?
Well, I'm glad you're faithful to the process question, John. I'm planning to and hoping to accomplish this within 30 minutes. Some of the department heads are here for specific questions. What I'm planning to do is just to kind of give an overview of those that pop up in fiscal year 11, 12. What I'd suggest is that it might be most beneficial to the selectmen to take the document home and review all of the details, because in there lies the specifics on the estimates, and it may also drive some other central questions. I think that may be the most beneficial because there's a lot of information in there. So my intent tonight is to just give you an overview and the reason why we do this and what some of the projects are heading your way for the next year. So what I can do is I'll jump in and start with municipal facilities and planning. Let's see. Dennis, could you catch this light here also? Please. Thank you. I'll show up a little bit better. Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you.
That focus, Papa, and that's a little blurry focus.
You're going to get, I think.
If it turns out that it's difficult to read it on the screen,
Oh, we can read along with our sheets if we
you can go
need
through your
to.
summary sheets. And would anyone in the audience like to have a summary sheet? Anyone else missing one that would like one? There's one in front. This would be easier. Okay. So I'm going to start off with these first three projects and give a brief synopsis. Under municipal facilities and planning, the first one that pops up is a comprehensive village planning study with conceptual graphics. The 2020 committee that was formed by the town and the Board of Selectmen is operating with zero funds. And in order to go through the process of doing a complete update of the town's master plan, we need to chip away at it. And as I reported a couple months ago, our approach is going to be with due diligence to try to find any type of outsource funding that can help us put this together. We're going to do it chapter by chapter versus going out and asking you for $150,000 and hiring a consultant to do it all. There'll still be a need for a consultant to do a portion of this comprehensive plan. What we can do through creative financing, we plan to bring forward to you. This village planning study by the 2020 Planning Committee has been seen as the next highest priority to tackle. Traditionally, to do this type of study, if it were farmed out to a consultant that knew how to do what's in the scope of services that we're looking for that would best benefit the town, that particular component tends to be fairly heavy-handed. On a private sector consultant, about $60,000 to $75,000. Why this shows up at $15,000 is that we are both blessed and we can benefit from using academia. We have access to two highly regarded schools in the New England area that can provide this service under the guidance of the dean and the town planner of the community. So we were able to reduce the cost down to about 20% in terms of value, in my opinion, and receive a product that's probably as good, if not better, than some boilerplate consultant opportunities. And that's with no disrespect to what consultants do for us. There's a really important piece involving young adults that have a lot of high energy and also can produce visualizations for the community. Our approach on this in terms of financing is to first look at private foundations, and thanks to Selectman Gale, he's put us on to one particular foundation that's based in Vermont that we're currently talking with. We'll see if there's any possibility to receive any funding from that foundation. If not, this would be something we'd request as part of taxation. Again, $15,000. The second project is a repeat from the last several years of the need to have what we're calling a sand salt equipment type facility, and that figure was brought forward from last year's estimate. The $435,000 represents a large clear span building of approximately 100 by 116 feet, but it's clear span, and it's built to last. Obviously, because that's approaching $500,000, our one and only resource that we're going to be looking at, and we continue to look at any opportunity with federal or state grant systems. And lastly, in the municipal facilities and planning, there's been a growing need to have a municipal multi-use truck. Fred did some research and came up with a figure for this four-wheel drive with plow of $44,000. That would be through taxation. So those would be the first three projects that fall under municipal facilities and planning. The next section, there are two projects in information technology. And David, would you like me to do that, or would you?
Sure, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. What I've tried to do is break this down as it shows up in your report. Under IT, these were two projects that were submitted by our IT manager, David. And the first is the purchase and installation of the electronic message board out here in front of Town Hall. As you recall, that's been discussed, that's sort of a carry forward from last year with a more careful assessment, and correct me if I'm accurate on this, Dave, that the cost of doing that type of sign that the town is desiring was underestimated. So David went back, researched all the different alternatives, and this is a FY10 cost estimate, or would it carry into next year?
That'll carry. It'll actually be a little bit less.
Okay.
Come back with a better number.
So that gives you a ballpark of about $12,000 or less to achieve that messaging board. The second project is the purchase of a large format scanner and printer, which again was talked about the year past. And the primary purpose on that is to document many of our older records that are beginning to deteriorate, particularly the large format ones, some of which haven't even been recorded in the registry. And as those documents begin to disintegrate, because they're on cotton rag paper, they yellow, the ink fades, and those that were done in the old blueprint process, which was ammoniated, the ammonia is starting to evaporate, and so are the details on the drawings. So what the large format scanner does is it preserves a lot of your important history that needs to be documented. David, is there anything else you want to embellish on those two projects?
I'd say you covered it well. It's an extension of the archiving of the old documents for the preservation of town hall records and history. In addition, it's also a printer that allows kind of a multi-function use of being able to print our own maps, which could tie in later to GIS as that builds over the years.
So that format printer, if considered as a project, would certainly be GIS compatible with the current software that we have. The next segment of 4 projects fall under the category of public library. The president of the Friends of the Library and the Friends of the Library have resubmitted the construction of a Waterboro Library and Community Center. And if that were to come back for another referendum next year or in 2012, this would be the forecasted cost if it were to go through the Maine Municipal Bond Bank. The next 3 projects are projects that are submitted by the town's chief librarian. And the first one that she has submitted to you is the repair and painting of the outside existing library at about $7,600. The next one is the replacement of 25 windows in the current library with energy-efficient windows. And Ruth practiced some due diligence on this and got several estimates so that you could see what the spread of doing that was. We're of the hopes that if the Department of Energy at the federal level proceeds ahead in fiscal year 11, that there may be Department of Energy monies that will be filtered to the LePage administration. If that's the case, then we'll seek out in that particular slot DOE monies, realizing, the town having to realize that when you use a federal grant system, that you must comply with all federal standards. So the bidding process and other details is different. But we will explore that possibility if it does come to be. And then lastly, the removal of the old parking lot materials and the repavement of that parking lot.
Tom, just to back up to the windows a little bit, are we still on target for the energy audit for January?
It appears that we are. We've got the administrative details that are required by DOE now complete. And so after we hear from DOE, we're going to proceed with Maine efficiency. And I think January is the month that we'll start to see some activity. The one thing I'd like the selectmen to think about is I believe we should go sole source with the person that can do this most accurately, and it's an architect that's doing a lot of these type of energy plans in the area. We'll talk more on that when it gets closer to January, and I'd be happy to be on your agenda in January to give you another update.
And the reason I ask is because those energy audits are requirements for any request for grants for energy efficiency, so that goes part and parcel with possibly going for grants for this window project.
Absolutely. The chair is absolutely right. These energy grants work in 2 phases. The first phase is you conduct the audit. In that audit, it makes it quite clear where your energy loss is. Actually, probably the perfect time of year to be doing these audits is January and February, because we'll see our greatest loss. And it shouldn't take long to prepare that, and what I'll do is I'll shift the existing library as one of the top priorities in the audit to get done, so we already have it complete.
Thanks.
Okay. So those are the 4 projects submitted by the public library. Those 4 projects, as fiscal year 11 proposals, come just shy of about $250,000, assuming all 4 of them were to be brought forward. The fire department, as usual, did a significant amount of due diligence in the projects that they wanted to put forward. What I've noticed is that some of the fire department's projects that were forecasted out in 08, 09 have now moved from year 3 to year 1 in terms of priority. The projects that were submitted, I'm just going to go through the 3 that show up in fiscal year 11. And chief and lieutenants and captains, feel free to jump in. Or if you'd like to present it, chief. Seeing you made the effort to be here and you missed your meeting in Sanford tonight. I almost staked him beer because he had an opportunity to have a nice meal out tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the opportunity. The items that are listed here, and not in any specific order the way they fall up there, but starting at the top one, as you remember back earlier, we had hired Neil Courtney to do a comprehensive study of the whole department. Initial conversations with him talked significantly about that and where we're going in the future, some of the needs, maybe some of the planning before in the building, and several big items, and you'll see contained in the report here, may not have been planned out back then. We need to look at specifically some showering facilities, bathroom facilities that aren't where they should be today, and some quarters for people, staff, an office and storage area. So anyhow, the big thing though with that is some rumors is that federal grant money will become available or may become available. If that is the case, we need to be ground ready in an attempt to move forward. Similar to what happened in Goodwin's Mills where they got just under $1 million. But they were ground ready at that point to move forward. So this will hopefully put us down the road so that we can go after some federal money at that point. Moving on, extrication tool, it wasn't in last year's, but one thing that we're seeing is the tools that we have, I believe, are close to 10 years old, thereabouts. And the technology that we have today was suitable for vehicles that were manufactured in early 2000. However, 2010, vehicles have changed over many years. Construction of the vehicles have changed. The strength of the material is different than it was before. We cut it approximately 40,000 pounds, and now the tools are cutting it well over about 150,000 thereabouts. So there's a big difference in tools, and this actually upgrades our unit to be compatible and to work with vehicles that we're encountering today. The third one is actually one that's been on there. We, several years ago, modified and made some upgrades to a pickup truck that we had in 1983 that had a utility body on it that the town used for many years. I believe they purchased used close to 83 in that time frame. Several years ago, we actually took the body off, put a flatbed, we kind of retrofitted it, made a lot of upgrades to it. This year, it actually failed the inspection. We've put some tin on the floors to fix rust holes that were through the floorboards. We've got a couple months out of it, is what we've got at this point. Also, we've all been using a state forestry truck that we had a mutual loan with the Maine Forest Service that actually has gone back, and we're not seeing it in the future as being returned to the town of Waterboro at this point due to some changes in the state. It worked while we had it. We had it for a couple of years. It came and went, but it is gone at this point, and that was our only forestry vehicle. The bottom one on the first page there, the replacement of the boiler, it kind of hit the radar when we were experiencing so many issues with the boiler that I think that the board probably recalls a couple months ago. We have made the required repairs as I believe the Hartford Steam Boiler Inspection Company required us to do. We've done that at a cost of just right around $2,000, actually a little bit less. It was a process, some ventilation issues. We've made those adjustments at this point, but talking with vendors, we still need to keep this on the screen for replacement. As far as in the fiscal year for replacement, we're still, we plugged in the years 2, but it's still up for discussion, I guess, on that, to be honest with you. Moving on, the ambulance, as you recall, was actually initially on, if we went by what the rotation was before, would have been actually on this previous year's article or submitted for request. However, we've put it out, and only because we have other higher priority items that we really need to address and identify. The ambulance cost obviously is a budget number, 161, most likely come in hopefully less than that because we're projecting it out. But the ambulance will then be over 10 years. and well over 100,000 miles. We're actually will be well over that at that point. In the bottom one, we have several issues. When this was created, we didn't realize we had problems that we've encountered recently, but we've identified a lot of water issues at South Station. We went to do some minor T111, or the wood siding on the outside of the building repairs, and realized that the boards behind were completely rotted and/or had a lot of moss or mildew, mold, whatever growing on it.
Mushrooms.
Actually, there were mushrooms too. We found a lot of mushrooms. So anyhow, and zero insulation in this building. So with Pete's help, I don't even know what Pete's last name is, the custodian. With his help, we've been able to strip one side of the building because the boards where they were installed kind of in an angle years ago looked like the original siding, and then they overlaid it with some, I don't know, some fiberboard of some sort for insulation back then. We've insulated that wall, and we've got the T111 already, and we're going to replace that side. So that's where we, hopefully, in this next fiscal year budget, we'll be able to set aside some funds in the $5,000, hopefully, mark, to do the other side of the building, and then move forward afterwards with the remainder of re-siding it and putting the new roof on. But over the past couple of years, we've done a lot of upgrades through donations and fundraising to weatherproof that building. So, any questions? In a nutshell?
Okay. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Tom.
We've had a couple people walk in after the beginning of the presentation. Is anyone missing the summary sheet? Okay. Steve, you have that? Okay. Okay. On the transfer station, I've checked with Clint, and we're going to just cover the first two. Clint was the most ambitious, as you notice, in this year's CIP with a multitude of projects. But we're going to take the first two and discuss those. The first proposed project, and Clint feels there's a sense of urgency on this so that equity can be brought to the different types of loads that come in and a fair assessment of weight and product. To purchase and set up a hydraulic truck weigh scale with ancillary computerized software. There are several other communities in the state that have recently adopted this procedure. In your CIP, you'll notice an illustration by the town of China, which recently implemented the scale system, and it's their estimate that there can be a payback on the investment within 36 months. Clint, when did they initiate those scales? Do you recall?
They started 2 years ago, and last year they went into actual use. And they figure they're going to have a 2-year payback.
A 2-year payback. So I stand corrected. I said 3 years, but a 2-year payback. So there's a fair amount of detail that you'll see in the CIP, and this project is worthy of reviewing the details on it, and that may also serve as a good way to resolve some conflict resolution that has currently existed. The second project for fiscal year 11 as a transfer station project is to purchase a used backhoe and to replace the 1998 backhoe with another used backhoe, but with less hours on it. And this goes back to part of the whole rationale of capital investment planning, or capital improvement planning, as they used to call it in the old days. I prefer calling it capital investment planning. The life expectancy of equipment, of facilities, everything has a shelf life. And the dilemma becomes when pieces of equipment start breaking expensive components. hydraulic systems, expensive parts, and then also parts that may not be able to be obtained in quick order. So this, I believe, has been brought forward each year that I've been here by Clint. Clint, can you give us a sense of how you would prioritize the urgency of this particular project? On a 1 to 10 scale?
1 to 10?
10.
When was that present tractor bought?
05?
5 years ago?
Well, no more than that. It's probably 7 or 8.
I'd say closer to 10.
Yeah.
That
And
came out of a municipality.
that came from Waterboro, New Hampshire.
Oh, it was more than 2 or 3 years old when he bought it.
The town of Wolfboro, New Hampshire has a tendency to abuse their equipment, so it's not a little footnote.
I understand that it's about a 20-year-old tractor right now, 22 years. And they put a lot of mileage on it because they use it right on the road.
Well, you say it's a 1998 backhoe, so it's not 20 years old.
It's not 98.
In dog life,
Fuzzy man.
It may have been the year of acquisition. I just translated it as I received it. So those are 2 projects recommended by Transfer Station. Please don't neglect all the other projects that are shown. Clint did forecast out over the 5-year cycle. Typical capital improvement plans will forecast out over 5 years. And lastly, the Road Review Committee has submitted 2 projects. The first project is a continuation of their ditching efforts from the year prior, and what they're doing is they're forecasting out the annual need to do ditching and forecasting their estimate to continue the program for $60,000 for next year. Fred, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's sufficient.
Okay. The last project really becomes sort of a reality shock, if you will, as to what it costs to properly investigate road infrastructure and prepare the community for building roads that can be shovel-ready if there is any opportunity in the future for infrastructure grants. To do the proper civil engineering, surveying, and road design for the Bennett Hill Road as a high-priority infrastructure project, and this is as defined by the Road Review Committee, them seeing this as the highest priority road that should be tackled. The engineering cost, and you'll see a copy of a really recent estimate prepared by an engineer that has done about 25 years worth of work here, so that firm knows this, what it costs to redesign and design and build out a road, of costs of, let's just round it off to about $100,000. That's just the design. That doesn't involve any road building at all. In a sort of a closing note on that, one of the things that I need to bring forward as your town planner is that we need to be immensely attentive and vigilant about our infrastructure systems. They're eroding faster than we can repair them. That's nothing you don't already know. One of the things that puts us in a very narrow capacity to be competitive for hopeful state and federal grants is the ability to have the proper technical information to be competitive in grant systems. And so this is the first time, I believe, in recent history that there's been a step forward showing you what it does cost to engineer a very complicated road. Bennett Hill Road is a very complicated road, and Fred, you can attest to that, or if you want to add anything to that particular project.
I can tell you one thing, roads are bad, not a good thing. And the increase of traffic in this town is just unbelievable. You know, we got more trucks on the roads, and just unbelievable how much.
Fred, in the road review committee, I believe about a year ago, through some help from the Regional Planning Commission, we did some traffic counting out there, and we were all shocked as to the volume of traffic that goes up and down that road. So that gives an overview, a general overview of these projects. I'd encourage you to take a real good close of the details on this. Both myself and the department heads will be available to answer specific questions. If you have some spontaneous questions that you'd like to fire off to me by email, I'll make sure that I forward those to the department heads. And then after the Finance Committee has had an opportunity to review this, at your next meeting, we'll sit down and we'll talk, and I'll be as helpful as I possibly can. Okay?
Okay. Any other questions for Tom?
At a meeting, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, we were informed of the importance of having traffic counters, and it's, you mentioned that tonight, and I guess I'm wondering why that wasn't included. If it was such an important item as we were told that it was, why it wasn't included in the capital plan for this year under road review.
I can answer that. They're going to put it in their budget, submit it in their budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're off the hook.
Well, thank you. Just so the public will hear the answer to Selectman Littlefield's question, why weren't traffic counters included in this year's CIP? It's a twofold answer. One, there's going to be a submittal, as the town administrator said, in the operating budget, whereas capital improvement projects need to be $5,000 or more to be in the capital investment plan. And most of the traffic counters, I believe, are in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. Now, if there were multiple traffic counters, then they could be...
I guess that's what I was looking at, because they were seeking two, I think is what the figure was mentioned, but...
Yeah. I think the answer to that is that probably two of them falls probably just a wee bit under $5,000, and so thus it falls into an operating budget. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thank you for hearing us out tonight. We've worked real hard on this CIP, and if you see opportunities for next year's improvements to the CIP, please let me know. And in closing, although we can't see it quite with all the lights on, one of my favorite shots of some reindeer keepers on Kamchatka Peninsula. Just thought it was really kind of symbolic of Christmas time. So, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you, Tom.
There we go. Turn them all off.
Oh, there.
Isn't that great? Thank you, guys. My night's complete.
Okay. So what'll happen now with CIPs, it's to the Finance Committee, so you folks will discuss it on Thursday night. And once we get the Finance Committee's recommendation per the charter, we'll need to have a public hearing. And then the Selectmen will vote to adopt a CIP for the next 5 years with or without changes as was presented this evening. So we'll wait to hear back from the Finance Committee. Okay. And moving on, Efficiency Maine contract. We voted in the efficiency, the PACE ordinance, and in doing so, we now need to sign a contract with the state they're looking at having some funding available. They were hoping in December, but now it's looking like January, February timeframe. And the contract that they forwarded to us is the standard contract that all of the other towns that are going to PACE have adopted. It did go to our attorney for some recommendation, and Pam included that in our packets this week. And with that, I'd throw it out to the board for discussion.
I'll move that we sign this contract. Is set. This is a new one that is a little different than one I take it that we...
We adopted an ordinance, and then
Okay.
based
Oh,
on
but
the
the
ordinance,
contract
we have
isn't
to,
part of it.
right.
Okay, I
And
would-
this contract puts the state is going to do all of the maintenance and
Yeah.
whatnot. Our responsibility is going to be to provide materials,
I
et
move
cetera.
that we sign that contract.
Okay, Gordon still seconding?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Okay,
Can I ask one question?
sure.
What's the deadline for the recommendations on the CIPs?
As soon as you can get them to us.
Okay.
It has to be within the 60 days of the final budget